guys. I'm fired up. It's been a great 2 days. Before we get started today, I want to tell you the story of the Honor Bowl and why you guys are in this event. There is much more to this game than just a football game. And I want you to hear the story. It's an honor to have the coaches here. I want you to know right now it's an honor to have your team here. I know you guys came a long way. Thank you so much. Back in 2010, I had a son that was a U.S. Marine. I was a football coach at the time. My kids played ball for me. In 2010, they were getting deployed. One of them was getting deployed to Afghanistan. But my boy never told me where he was going, what part of Afghanistan he was going to. Until what we would do as a mom and dad is I would go down to Camp Pendleton. I'd buy a keg of beer for the Marines and we'd have a party. They'd say, go get some. And at this party, without my son never telling me where he was going, he put his arm around my shoulder and he said, Dad, let's go take a walk. I want you to know where we're going. I knew they had been training. I knew that they had been working hard, harder than I've ever seen them work before. And he takes me for a walk and he says, Dad, I just want you to know that we're going to this place in the Helmand province called Seng in Afghanistan. Do yourself a favor. Don't Google it. What do you think I did? I immediately get my phone out. I Googled it, and I learned that the British Royal Marines had occupied this territory. They had occupied it for 4 years. 100 of their men were killed, and almost 1,000 wounded by legs being amputated, arms being torn off, and many of them returning with flag-draped coffins. This is where my son was going. 2 days later, they left. A week later, they're in Seng in Afghanistan, and my son tells me, he goes, Dad, it was crazy. As we were landing in the relative safety of our FOB, we could hear ping coming off of our helicopter. They were being shot at as they were landing in the relative safety of their base. And he said, I looked down, Dad, and we were surrounded by white flags. What do we think of when we think of white flags? Surrender, right? Not to the Taliban. The Taliban would put these white flags on the ground. And with black spray paint, they would spray paint, death to the Americans, death to the infidels. That's you and I, guys. They landed in their FOB. And a few days later, the first patrol went out. Patrol left the base, and as the patrol left the base, around a mile down the road, they hear this boom! The Humvee that was leading that runs over a roadside bomb. It was electronically detonated. The Taliban weren't even there. They were letting it go by electronics. The bomb was so big that it lifted up the Humvee, twisted it like a corkscrew, and 4 Marines were instantly killed. My son was back at the base. He said, Dad, we loaded up. We were trying to call them. Guys, are you okay? Are you okay? Radio silence. They went out there, and under enemy sniper fire, they secured the area. This is where it gets strange. A day later, I get a call on the phone. It's a neighbor up the street in Sacramento, California. And the neighbor's like, Coach, something's happening at my neighbor's house. I heard screaming, and I saw Marines go in there with dress blues, and I think something bad happened to their son. Give me their number. I want to call them. I want to see if there's anything I can do to help. Come to find out their son was killed. I became close with the family. They were on their way to Dover to pick up their son's body and bring him home. And when they got home, they said, Coach, will you do the honor of eulogizing our son? They asked me to eulogize their son because that Marine that was killed played football for me. I had the honor to eulogize him, and I watched his body get lowered into the ground. And this is where it gets even stranger. A few days later, my son's on the satellite phone from Afghanistan, in the worst part of the world that you could possibly be. barely hear him through the cracking of the satellite phone. He goes, Dad, my colonel tells me that a coach eulogized Victor Dew. Dad, was that you? And I said, yes, son, that was me. He goes, Dad, I was there. I cut him out of the vehicle. As a football coach, that changed my life. As a dad, that changed my life. And that's when a friend of mine, Rick Sutter, Coach Sutter, Patty Dew, Patty Schumacher, sorry, Patty, Gold Star mom, Victor's mom, we decided to start the Honor Bowl. Guys, there is more to this event than just football. This is by the spirit of your coaches, the spirit of your athleticism, the fans that come to support you. This is your way of giving back. This is your way of saying thank you to the men and women that fight, bleed, and die for our freedom. That's the story of the Honor Bowl, the best high school football showcase in America, and you guys are a part of it. You guys have an opportunity right now to meet one of those 3-5 Marines. Let's give it up for Gunny Sergeant Freddy.
I'm going to start out by saying thank you. Truly thank you from the bottom of my heart for what you do. There's 25 faces as you walk out on banners of Marines that did not make it back that deployment. 3rd Battalion, 5th Marines deployed September 2010 with roughly 1,000 Marines. They came back April 2011, 25 minus than what they deployed, but then those faces are on those banners. So what you do for us, what you do for that battalion, what you do, you're playing for those ones that have gone before us, coaches, players, thank you. I truly, truly appreciate it. I'm going to fast forward to that deployment and give you a story that hopefully you can take something from it and you can apply for it when you face adversity, challenges, and roadblocks, and you can overcome it. So I'm going to fast forward to December 30th, 2010 on that deployment where a patrol went out for about 4 hours. They went to go gather information, intelligence, talk to the local nationals, and they were heading back to the patrol base, to the PV. As they were making entry back to the patrol base, about 200 meters out, one of the last men of the patrol, one of the last Marines in Afghanistan, stepped on an IED, an improvised explosive device, a roadside bomb. Luckily, that bomb didn't go off all the way. There was still a piece of that bomb laying out there. That piece of it shattered his foot, broke his ankle, got him in a truck. They got him in a truck. They put him in a helicopter, sent him back here to stateside where he recovered. Now, because that entire roadside bomb didn't go off, that squad that had just gone in, those 20 Marines, now 19, had to go back out there and place a stick of demolition to blow the rest of it in place, or else the Taliban would pick it up and use it against them. So they sent out a team of 4 to go out there and place demolition. As they were about to pull it, from the east, the Taliban opens up. Now I'm going to picture it in your mind if you've ever watched Lone Survivor, the movies with Marcus Luttrell, when he's up at the mountaintop overseeing the village. That's what Afghanistan singing looks like. Mud huts, mud dirt, mud alleyways, that's what it looks like. So as they're getting ready to pull, the Taliban ambushes from the east. The squad leader, the sergeant that was pulling, looked to his east, put up his rifle, started shooting in that direction towards the enemy. The 3 Marines that were to the front went to the north, got behind a wall and took cover. There was a little divot, a little wash with a waist-sized wall where that squad leader, that sergeant, was running to get behind to take cover and continue to suppress the enemy. As he got to that little divot, he fell on his back and he tried to get up, and when he looked up, he looked down, and his camouflage uniform was filled in red. It was drenched in blood. Here comes one of the 3 members that had gone the other direction, running under fire from the Taliban suppression. He takes off his seatbelt cutter scissors, rips his camis off his uniform, and there's blood gushing out. Mind you, we're about 2 minutes now. He applies gauze, he puts a tourniquet on, tightens it up, calls the squad that's inside the patrol base to bring a stretcher out to get that sergeant on the stretcher. A couple minutes later pass, the team gets out there, the squad gets out there, there's a stretcher, they put him on the stretcher, they're getting ready to pick him up. On the count of 3, everyone fires back at the enemy, and they're going to move him back. And they do so. 1, 2, 3, everyone opens up. They're making movement back. The squad leader, the sergeant that's laying down, he puts up his hand, and carrying him to his right or to his left is his best friend, another sergeant. And this is what he told him. Tell my mom I love her, and tell my boys I'm sorry. Squeezes a hand and says, tell my mom I love her, and tell my boys I'm sorry. Well, the last words that sergeant gave to his best friend on the battlefield. Got him in a truck, got him on a helicopter, got him stateside. Now let me tell you how that story can apply to you when you're facing challenges, adversity, and roadblocks. January 2011, that sergeant was right here in San Diego, Balboa Hospital, recovering. He was laid up on a bed when the doctor came in and said, after evaluating your injury, we're amputating your leg. There's too much nerve damage. There's no recovery. By the way, you're never going to be running or walking the same way you used to, so there's a medical retirement coming your way. For a couple days, that sergeant took it and he said, depression, anxiety, sadness, worries, all these emotions came to him. But then he took that challenge in view that mid-April, the battalion, that squad that saved his life was coming back. And he set a goal that by the time that the squad that saved his life landed at March Air Force Base, an hour north from here, that he was going to be at the bottom of that staircase when they landed, and he was going to hug him. I share that story with you to tell you that on April 15th, when that squad landed at March Air Force Base, that plane landed, the staircase fell down. I was at the bottom of that staircase, standing there, receiving my squad, hugging every single one of them. When they told me that I was getting my leg amputated, when they told me that I was getting medically retired and I was never going to be able to walk or run the same way again. And again, I share that story with you because some of you may be going through something, some of you may have faced something and you didn't know how to overcome it. And I tell you, it's all about your work ethic, the passion, you being a failure or failing at something. And this is how I take it personally. Some people don't see it this way. But to me, I failed out in combat because I was wounded. And I could have taken the retirement, I could have taken the amputation, I could have taken everything that was on the table. But that, to me, was a failure. And I didn't want to be a failure. I failed, but I didn't want to be a failure. And there's a difference between those two. Because I chose to stand up, dust myself off, learn from it, and do something great with it. And you have the opportunity to do the same thing because football, it hurts, it's always getting hit. Coming in early, staying in late, doing the extra rep, throwing the extra ball, whatever the case is, fill in the blank. It's not easy. But you have the chance to be a failure or a failure. Which one are you going to be? And it's all through your work ethic, your passion, your dedication, you going out there and doing what you do. I'll close out with saying I used to say that I was lucky, that it was a coincidence, that I trained my guys so good that they saved my life. And that wasn't the case. I was a fool. Far from being right. I'll tell you right now, that was God looking out for me. That was God keeping me around for whatever reason and the purpose. And now I'm here standing in front of you sharing that story, hoping that it reaches one of you and that you're able to overcome challenges, adversities, roadblocks when it hits. Whether it's on the football field, whether it's at home, whether it's your relationship, whether it's your parents, whether it's your coaches, whatever it is, fill in the blank. Let it apply to you. Again, thank you for what you do. Thank you for coming out here and honoring those 25 plus, the rest that have gone before us, that we get to live our free life and our rights. God bless every single one of you. Thank you.
Before I do some housekeeping, I got one more for you. Let's give it up for Colonel Ogden.
Now, I gotta tell you, I absolutely love this game of football, man. I love this game of football for three very good reasons. Because of the similarities it has with daggone Marine Corps. The first thing I love about this game is the sheer competitive physicality of this game. You gotta be a hard man to play a tough game. You all need to be hard men when that whistle blows tonight. Know your assignment, stay low, and drive with your legs. And hit, and keep hitting, so when the game is over, the other side is glad the game is over. The second thing I love about this game is the sheer emotionality of this game. Where are my seniors in this locker room? Right, you're seniors. You got to use your maturity and your leadership in the game to help your younger guys deal with the ebbs and flows that happen throughout a football game. Everybody understand what I'm getting at? Yes, sir. The last thing I love about this game is the sheer camaraderie. The camaraderie that you have built through your sweat, in some cases for some of you, your blood, and for all of you, the pain that you've endured in the weight room, the summer football practices, leading up to this season. I'm going to ask you to do one thing for me. Don't play for yourself. You play for the guy on the left and right of you during that game. And during that game, you need to look each other in the eye, and you need to say, no matter what's going on, I got your back. And I'm going to give 100% for you. So when that whistle blows tonight, relish the camaraderie you built all the way up until this point. Have fun riding the emotional wave throughout this game. And absolutely cherish the about for like staggering 60, 45 minutes. You get to be as physical as you can in between the both whistles. One thing I'm going to leave with you right now, you got to remember one thing. Remember, it is never the size of the dog in a fight. It is all about the fight inside the dog. Yes. And when that whistle blows, you got to make sure your fight is bigger than theirs. Now, when that chin shot buckles, you have a great ass game tonight, and you go hit somebody.
Who is the gentleman that is going to be carrying the flag through the tunnel, leading your team out onto that football field?
This man right here.
Hell yeah.
Yes. It's your turn to come through the tunnel, all right? We're going to hand you the flag. Your team is going to fill into the tunnel. There's going to be smoke. There's going to be photos. There's going to be lights, right? And I'm going to introduce you through that tunnel. I want you to have fun with it. Wave that flag. I don't know if they've ever seen the picture of Holly, right? If they've seen that picture, that was you, that was Holly 3 or 4 years ago. Do the same thing. Have fun. Have fun. Praising America. You got it? All right, Coach. At the end of the game, one of your team members will be getting a character award that you will be choosing, and the MVP that will be selected by the media in attendance. One of you will be winning this. And at the end of the game, we will be giving this coach the 2023 Honor Bowl Championship. All right. At the end of those awards, when you guys get your awards, and Coach, when you get your award, I need you to go over to the awards desk. You'll know where it's at. You'll see it. Coach, you sign the football helmets. The MVP and the character award winners sign the footballs. And I mean sign them, no initial. Put your signed signature on that football. All right? Immediately after the game. All right? There is a piece of art there that has been crafted by Chief Joe Pisano. This art, we want you to put a screw into that art. Because his piece of art is going to be going to Levi Stadium and hanging in John Lynch's office, because we're going to be giving it to him as a gift, as being a presenting sponsor of the Honor Bowl for 6 years in a row. Guys, remember, you are playing in the best high school football showcase in America. Show up and win. Get up, get in here. Yes, come on, get it tight. Hands up. When I say 3-5, I want you guys to say, get some. 3-5.
Get some. Get some. Get some.
Get out of the way. Get out of the way, Mark. Get out of the way with the radio.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. From Punahou, Hawaii. Head coach, Freddy. Let's welcome the Punahou Smart Coach Soto, and the Executive Director and co-founder of the Honor Group, who is the creator of the Honor Bowl. We are a nationwide nonprofit whose mission is to educate students, athletes, coaches, and community about patriotism while raising money for injured, ill, and wounded veterans. Today, before the start of the Punahou Honolulu, Hawaii versus Centennial Bay Corona, California game, we would like for you to focus your attention to the center of the field. Here is where we will have a few distinguished guests for the building of the battle cross. Please, to maintain the safety of this ceremony, we ask that you refrain from clapping or cheering. Color guard, advance.
Guard. Ho!
When a serviceman or woman is lost in the battlefield, it has become customary to arrange their rifle pointing down, along with their boots and helmet. Surviving members of their squad gather around and memorialize their fallen comrades. Some of the troops will pray. Others might recall personal stories, but make no mistake, this is a ceremony that is taken very seriously. Every soldier knows that the next ceremony might be for them. When a rifle with bayonet is downward into the ground, it is a memorial of a soldier killed in action. It also signals a time for a prayer, a break in the action to pay tribute to our friend and hero. Placing the rifle is United States Marine Sergeant Major Louis Ortega, Marine Recruiting Station, San Diego. Combat boots represent the final march of the soldier's last battle. Placing the boots is U.S. Navy Chief Petty Officer Joe Pisano, active duty reserve, creator of Pisano Arts. The helmet is also a symbol of this great sacrifice. The helmet is being placed by USMC Gunnery Sergeant Freddy Torres, drill instructor at Marine Corps Recruiting Depot, San Diego. Gunnery Sergeant Torres is a Purple Heart recipient, was wounded in action in the Helmand province of Afghanistan in 2010. The dog tags identify the soldier's name, so he or she will never be forgotten. Placing the tags and being escorted by Colonel Ogden is Gold Star mother, Patty Schumacher, honoring her son, U.S. Marine Lance Corporal Victor Drew 20 of Granite Bay, California, assigned to the 3rd Battalion, 5th Marines, who died October 13, 2010, of wounds sustained when enemy forces attacked his unit with an improvised explosive device. The tags Patty just placed on the rifle are the actual tags that Victor wore when he was killed. Standing flank is U.S. Marine Petty Sergeant Jerry McCarthy, Recruiting Station San Diego, honoring his cousins, U.S. Army Staff Sergeant Christopher Swenson, killed in action July 22nd in Ramadi, Iraq. Now, ladies and gentlemen, while you're still standing and our Gold Star families and military members are centered on the 50-yard line, we would like to acknowledge our two fallen heroes from the tragic Osprey crash in Melville Island, Australia, during the joint international training in August of 2023. No family ever wants to become Gold Star family, but it is a title that wear in their hearts forever. At this time, we will honor our new three heroes by remembering to say their names. I will say their name individually and will direct you when to repeat their name. Their name and picture will appear on the video wall. After, we will have a moment of silence followed by the playing of taps. Corporal Spencer R. Collard, say Spencer Collard. Spencer Collard. Captain Eleanor B. LeBeau, say Eleanor LeBeau. Major Tobin J. Lewis, say Tobin Lewis.
Present. Present. Up.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose small stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight, o'er the ramparts we marched, were so gallantly streaming. And the rugged red flag upon her singing air gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land and the free and the
Order. Up. Ready. Cut. Come on. Hut. 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 Yourselves, please. Only once. Okay. Gentlemen, let's have a great ball game tonight.
Congratulations on being selected for the Honor Bowl. It's quite an honor. That is a head with the helmet. That is the tail with the boots. Head, tail. You're a visitor, what would you like to call it? He's going to call it tails. Schumacher's going to throw the coin for us. Tails was called. Very good. And tails it is. Would you like to make your choice now or defer to the second half? You're going to defer. You're going to want to receive now. Which way do you want to kick? Okay, put your backs over here. Centennial face Punahou. Punahou 1 has elected to defer. Centennial will be receiving at the scoreboard. Hey, shake hands one more time, guys. Let's have a great ball game.